Welcome to Armstrong theme. This video is going to give a brief explanation of what Armstrong is and what makes it tick, and then it's going to go straight into a sort of tutorial approach to actually working with Armstrong so you can see really what it does for you. Armstrong is a starter theme. Now, a lot of people talk about rolling their own starter themes, but when they do so, they're often disappointed at the results. Typically, they find that they just don't have enough time to implement all the features they'd like to get there, either features for themselves as editors or features for content editors and clients so that they can work with the site more easily. Or they find that the results not up to par with what they want infrastructurally because they didn't have the time and the foresight to really plan everything out really well, because it really does take a lot of time to engineer a solid framework. So they start wondering if they ought to get a off-the-market starter theme. And what you find when you look at a lot of the themes on the market is they go one extreme or the other. A lot of themes really barely qualify as starter themes. They're more like just basic foundations or frameworks. They're very bare bones. They give you so little to start with, you're wondering how it's even helping you. It's like you're at square one and you have to fill in everything yourself. Other themes, they go the extreme where they actually are geared towards people who are not comfortable with code. They assume you're a designer, but you can't write code or CSS, and so they give you this really fancy front end in WordPress that can actually be kind of a bear to work with and slow, and really is not fun for somebody that does know how to work with code and wants that kind of power. So it's like, you're left wondering, well, where's the middle ground? I mean, what should the starting point be? Well, what Armstrong does is it gives you a really powerful infrastructure so that all the features that you would typically want in a finished product are already there. Content editors can go in and make edits really fast. You, as the developer designer, can make changes really fast. And the underlying infrastructure is well thought out to make it very flexible. It assumes that you are comfortable with code, but the level of how deep you want to go is exposed carefully and depending on what you're looking to do. It's very fast to work with. We're going to jump right into working with Armstrong. We're going to assume that you've just installed it on a fresh WordPress site and you are looking at something like this and you're like, what's going on here? There's nothing hardly. Well, this area up here is the header region, and it's styled like this out of the box, but you can change it. You can make it look like it's part of the page here if you want to. It contains all the header stuff, including the menu. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at widget areas, and then we're going to start by adding a menu to this site to fill it out. We're not going to get into a lot of specific features in this video. This will be covered by other videos, but we are going to give you a sense of getting started filling something out with Armstrong. So this diagram represents all the widgets in Armstrong. And if you go over and look at the widget page, you can actually see all these widgets correspond to that diagram. We're going to add a menu to the primary menu area. So we're going to go to the menus page. And I already have a menu set up here with 4 pages on it. This is standard WordPress functionality. It's called main menu. But over here on the left side, you see the theme locations for menus in Armstrong. And these are different than normal because they're labeled with shortcodes. So you could copy any one of these shortcodes and paste it anywhere, and the menu assigned to it will show up there wherever you paste on your site, and you can use it in multiple places. We're going to assign the main menu to primary menu and to footer. We're going to hit save. We're going to copy this shortcode and go to the widgets page. And we could, of course, do what you'd expect. We could put a text box here in the primary menu and paste it in, have our menu. But we're going to actually delete this because I want to demonstrate the visual widget that comes with Armstrong. We're going to put this in and hit create new content. It's going to create a new post type called visual widget. And I'm going to give it an arbitrary name. It doesn't matter what you call it. Paste in the menu shortcode. And I need to add a class. It's going to be SF menu. That means superfish menu. That tells this menu to display as a superfish menu because Armstrong can do other types of menus. Hit publish. Now I'm going to get a notice up here saying I need to activate this in the widgets page, and it gives me a link. So I follow that link and I go back to the primary menu to the visual widget, and I can see it says no content selected. So if I click on this, I can see my primary menu, the content I created. I can hit save, and now I've assigned it to this widget. If I refresh the page now, I'm going to see that menu. There it is. And what's really cool about the visual widget is that you get this blue edit link. And clicking on this takes you directly to the content edit. See, I'm here in the WordPress visual editor. I didn't have to jump through any hoops to get here. So if I make changes in here, they're updated on the site. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to we're going to take the same menu and put it in the footer, and then we're also going to add some columnized widgets down here to show you how widgets already have built-in columns in Armstrong. So we're back here in the widgets page. We're going to go to footer menu. We're going to put in a text box, and we're going to change the ID to footer menu so it corresponds to the menu we've made in the menus pages. Have to add the class again. Save. Get that out of the way. Now we're going to go to this top area of the footer. It's top and bottom is just for organization. There's nothing special about that. And we're going to add a search box. We're going to call it search. Then we're going to see here where it says width, full width by default. We're going to change this to 1/4. So this widget will span 1/4 of the page width. Then we're going to put a text box in here, and I've got some lorem ipsum text I'm going to paste in here. And we're going to change this width to 3/4 and hit save. We're going to go back and refresh the page. And you can see the menu has appeared, and we have a 1/4 wide search column and a 3/4 wide text column. And of course, if this had been done with a visual widget, you'd have a little blue link down here for edit. Now the next thing we want to talk about is selective content delivery by device type. So let's say you've got this menu up here and you like how it displays as a Superfish menu on the desktop or on tablets, but on a phone device with a small screen you want it to display as like a drop down box, a real handy little select box. So what we'll do is we're going to hit edit on this, and we got to first limit what device this menu shows on. So we're going to wrap this in short codes. TAU is short for tablet and up, TAU. We're going to copy the menu short code, and we're going to go down a line, and we're going to put this in two short codes, PH, which is short for phone or phone size. It's the same menu, but we're going to change the class to select menu and hit update. Now what we'll find when we go to the site is that only the one menu will display. We see the Superfish menu, but if we go over here into Chrome, which right now I've configured to display as iOS, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but you can do a user agent override in the element inspector settings in Chrome. So I have it set to display as iPhone iOS 5, and if I hit refresh, I should see the menu displays as the drop down. So see, we don't see the Superfish menu, we see the drop down menu. So we've done two things. We've assigned two different menus, and we've controlled which device type they're displaying on. Now one more thing that would be cool is, what if we don't want the menu display here at all? What if we'd like to actually have a masthead up here at the top on the phone? And we can do that. We'll go back and we're going to edit this again. We're going to remove, we'll cut this first, and we're going to remove this. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the widgets page, and there is a region that corresponds to the masthead on phones right here. So we're going to put a text box in here. Could be a visual widget. I'm just using a text box. And I put the select menu in there. I'm leaving it as primary menu, but it could be any of the menus from the menu page. And I hit save. And we'll hope everything works. I go back to Chrome and hit F5. And you see a masthead appears, and the box is right here jammed up in the left corner because it doesn't have any styling. You can style this, of course, in the style sheet, or you can style it with inline styles. And just to show you proof, if we go back to Firefox and look at it like we're on a regular desktop, you don't see the masthead. So that gives you the sense of the navigation and how widgets work in Armstrong. We haven't covered all the details, but other videos will cover some of the things. Look through the docs and the pitch pages for other information. You can ask questions to the support team. Just go to the support page and email us if you have any questions. And we hope you enjoy working with Armstrong.